Awesome. Hey there. Welcome to the continuation of yesterday's Facebook marathon for strings-attached-cares.org, which is our nonprofit organization that brings vibrant musicians and live music to people that need it. People in care centers, people that are healing, people that are hurt. And not only that, but to kids that have never heard a violin or an upright bass in front of them. They may have heard it in their earbuds, but not in the actual room. And those kinds of experiences are extremely impactful to kids. I hear stories of, you came to play my school 20 years ago, and now I'm a violinist, or now I'm a guitarist. So those are the kinds of experiences that we bring to the Austin area, and your donations help do that. And another great thing about it is musicians, for the most part, they don't really work in the morning or the afternoons. And there's that cliche of, Will, I can't believe you're up at 8 a.m., which I am. And shouldn't you be waking up at noon? So there's this period of time in the mornings and the afternoons when musicians are usually aren't working. So Strings Attached Cares, if we have more donations from you, we can put Austin musicians to work doing the work that is, again, great work that impacts so many people, instead of them just playing in the bars or places like the Paramount Theater, or if you're in the symphony, you're playing the Long Center. So that's the mission of strings-attached-cares.org. And I wanted to bring some interviews with folks who have been impacted, or even their lives have been saved or moved by the power of live music, by lyrics, by actual musicians reaching them. So I have one of my interview guests, one of my interviewees, is that what you would say?
Interviewee.
Yeah, right here. I was speaking with her yesterday about doing a house concert, and we're actually in the spot where we are going to do a house concert on April 14th. This is Susan R. Nelson, and we were having a conversation about her past and how much the music of Ian Moore helped her through a very difficult period. Yeah, and many others.
And many others. Yeah.
And so I love bringing the stories, out in the open of how music has been a healing factor. And, and what's one of the things that I love about not just music, but the arts, is that there's this scale of experiencing that. It can be just hearing a song in the car, on the radio, lifting your spirits. And I'm always amazed how much of an impact a great song or a great lyric can completely shift my mood. And I have to remind myself at times, like, why don't I do that more often? Why don't I put on music? Let me make sure we're still live. Are we live? Yep, somebody's watching us from France, as a matter of fact.
Yay.
So, and I have to go, gosh, you need to put music more on. And the way that it activates the neural receptors, or they've done a lot of research on that. Do you know about that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a reminder, okay, so that's just a general effect of music. And one thing I want to ask you, in your experience, is how much of a difference does it make having a live musician in the room, versus just putting on some earbuds,
Yeah.
because we've experienced that. For Strings Attached Cares, we're taking the real musicians out there. So what happened yesterday, before I get to Susan, I'm going to tease you some more. Like, she's sitting here going, what am I going to do? Or what's her story? But a real quick story. Yesterday, the last performance that we played was at a nursing home in East Austin. And we walked in. It had a lot of security. We had to get through several doors of security. Mm-hmm. We entered a world that many of us, we have no, we don't experience that on a day-to-day basis. We walk in, and everybody is focused on their tasks. They didn't even notice that we were coming in. The nurses they looked so, I have to say, overworked. They probably are. And there are varying residents just wandering around and varying degrees of mental capacity. And, when I do these kinds of performances, I have to it takes me, 5 or 10 minutes to sort of soak into that atmosphere. And okay, here we are, and okay, it is important what we're going to do. We're offering some live music. Yeah. So we performed. We had maybe 4 or 5 residents that pulled up in their wheelchairs for that performance, and again, even though they were, like I said, not completely functional mentally, Alzheimer's or whatever, they were very moved by the music. This one gentleman, he just sat and he just really tuned us in, and then after a while he went, "Do you guys know some jazz?" And my cellist friend said, "You've got the right violinist for that." And so it became a challenge to see, how can we inspire, how can we move these folks, And so I said, "Hey, do you know Amazing Grace?" And let's do Amazing Grace. And put the music stand aside, and they all just lit up. They lit up from the music, the live music. And I said, "Hey," the last time I said, "Can we get everybody to sing along? Let's hear you guys sing." And then so these folks that were in the nursing home were singing along with us. And at the end, we got a big amen, And here was just a violin and a cello, and they loved it,
It's funny that you said that about the nursing homes, because my husband's father's in a nursing home, and they have headsets that they put on them with music that was familiar to them when they were younger, and the way they respond is amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
And then on Sunday mornings they have people that come in for church services, and they sing songs, and someone will play the piano, and they wake up.
Right, that's it.
It's amazing. It's amazing to
the
watch.
transformation.
It's amazing
from
to
being
watch.
like this
Yes.
to, and I saw this a lot yesterday. Even when I went to the Dell Children's Hospital, there were some children that were just asleep, and then we played a song they knew, and they were snapping their fingers. They were kind of mouthing along with the lyrics.
Right.
And the part for me of having the live musician there makes it really special, is that I can respond in real time to the guests and for that performance, and really start to tune in. I mean, I do this at weddings too, and there's and it's so when I came into that nursing home, I thought, wow, are we really going to make a difference? That little voice in my head, the negative judge voice,
absolutely
was like, I was questioning, like, should we be here? I don't know if this is going to make. And I have to, a lot of times I have to push through that. And yes, we are. Because there was food all over the place. It was messy. People were wandering around and distracted. Yeah. And I just, and I was almost feeling embarrassed that I brought this symphony cellist in with me, No, he was on board. We went over there, and he thanked me today. He said, "Brother Will, we made," what did he say? He said, "That was a beautiful day yesterday. Thank you for involving me." Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
And so I want to challenge other professional musicians to do this, because this is a real gift to give, and it is needed.
It is needed.
I mean, and I want to do more of this. My dream for Strings Attached Cares is to wake up each week here in Austin and have on my schedule at least one day full of these kinds of performances where we really get back in connection. It's like being grounded in a way.
Right.
Okay, here's the other thought I had when I was there. I was like, that could be you in the wheelchair, Will.
Okay.
Right?
Been there.
Okay, so now, so that's how we're gonna. Yeah, so that could be you in the wheelchair. There's a sort of we aren't in control of our future, or and so that could be you in the wheelchair. It could be you behind the doors, the locked doors.
Yep.
Yeah, it could. You are not. Nobody is immune from possibly ending up that way. So it's important that we stay connected to that and grounded by having those experiences as musicians or as people. And not just musicians can do this, but everybody can go and do this and help out and give back. So that ties in with my guest here, Susan R. Nelson, who is a fan of Strings Attached. She saw us play a live house concert next door from where we are.
Yes. Today
she reached out to have us do a house concert right here on this porch. And I want her to share her story about the healing power of music and her experience with you guys. Would that be a good place to start?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
And you pick it up from there.
So basically, I met Will, like you said, at a house party, and I reached out to him to have an event at my home because music has played an unbelievable amount. I don't even know how it's inspired me and how it's changed my life.
Let me hold it 1 second. Let me check to make sure we're on, because I would hate.
Okay.
We're good? You guys hear anything? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. We're good. Start over.
So, so I was sharing with Will, because we were talking about this house concert, and I made a mention about Ian Moore and having Ian Moore play, because he was instrumental in my healing, or his music was. In 1993, I was severely injured. I was shot in the back of the head in a home robbery, and I was basically, had been in a coma. I came out. I had to pick up the piece of my life, from everything from reading and writing to walking and talking, and I spent many, many months in rehab in a wheelchair and unable to communicate with other people. But a friend of mine, again, it's 1993, gave me a boom box. And so I had this boom box with me all the time, and they made me cassette tapes, and I walked around, or I had in my wheelchair this boom box, and I played music, every kind of music I could think of. At the time, I was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I'm still a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. And because of that genre, another friend said, "Hey, I've heard this new guitarist, and I want to share his music with you." And he made me a tape, a bootleg tape. Yes, it was. He copied the tape. Made a tape of Ian, and I would play his music. It touched me so much that I would just play, and it helped me heal. And it's music like that. It wasn't until I was recovered that, of course, the first concert I went to was his concert, or one of his concerts. But music, I don't know if I would have ever recovered the way that I recovered after such a devastating injury had I not had something to reach out to that motivated me, that connected with me, and that gave me that light that I found to keep going. You know, but the music, music did that, and it's still a big part of my life. I live with music every day. My husband and I go to concerts all the time. We try to stay active, which is why we went to go see Will play for Strings Attached, and why I reached out to him about having a concert here.
Exactly. So music was a tether at the time, something, a lifeline.
Absolutely.
Literally.
That's a great way to put it. I hadn't thought about that. It was a tether. It was a lifeline. Absolutely. It was, it was, it just brought me in. I mean, it kept me sane.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're that devastated, or like I was saying with my husband's father having Alzheimer's and in a nursing home, and you're in a situation where you don't have control of anything, that music can give you that lifeline and that tether to help you feel like you have some control and that connection.
So it pulls you back to, what you said, it just pulls you back. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, if you remember, if you can think back, to what was going on inside you. And then you said Ian was important, but there was a lot of different kinds of music. There was a lot. I mean, I listened to a lot of the music that was popular during the day in 1993. The Spin Doctors were real big, and a lot. There was a lot of different. Sue Foley, love you. There was so many musicians that saved me, and didn't know that they were doing so. But, you know what this reminds me of too? Do you know Jean Kabat-Zinn?
No. Should I know him?
Yeah, you should. He's like the father of mindfulness in America. Okay.
Yeah.
And he started the stress reduction clinic, stress and mindfulness reduction clinic. I don't know if that's correct, but working with people in hospitals that are recovering of all kinds of things. And he said, and people would say, I don't think meditation or mindfulness would help me, right? And he would say, what he would say was, can you breathe? He's like, if you can breathe, then you've got a place to start. And so as you're talking about music, it's almost like music is another kind of breath that you could focus on. So when you're in that moment of trauma, or you're really pulled by a lot of negativity. It could be how your body's feeling. If you're recovering from a traumatic injury, then the music is another kind of breath that you're able to breathe
Absolutely.
in, right?
Absolutely.
That's what it started reminding me of, is
Yeah.
because he would say, if you can breathe, then you've got something to work with. And everybody that's alive.
I totally believe that. I mean, because the music, it sets a pace in your body and and in your in your breath, and whether it's a fast song or a slow song. I was doing yoga this morning, and I love my yoga teacher. Shout out to Dixie and your yoga. She doesn't play traditional. Well, she does play some traditional kind of calming music sometimes, but a lot of times she plays just music that she likes. And she was playing some Annie Lennox today, and I'm doing my yoga to this music, and I'm like, I love this because it's making me want to move, and it's making me want to not just be static. It's just giving me energy. I love it.
I know, isn't that fascinating that in a way that, vibrations, well, they're literally, it's something physical in the air. If you go down to a physics level. So it is moving your eardrum.
Right.
So it's not my voice, just as my voice is speaking, and it's going. So and then that carries over into you. Somehow your body then wants to move. You know, dancers talk about this too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've been dancing for the last 3 years. I was afraid of dancing for my whole life. And now it's very hard for me to sit and listen to any kind of music that would...
Without moving.
Yeah, and I never understood that before I was a dancer. And it's so funny, you know, but it's a similar thing we were talking about with yoga.
I'm constantly moving. I scare my son sometimes when I drive because I'm dancing to the music in my car.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help it. It moves you. It brings you to.
Yeah.
I mean, it can bring you back to your childhood, to a favorite memory, you know, or it can bring you to just a calming place when you're upset and you need to be able to breathe. It's an amazing power.
Right. And then if you do it as a practice, you can almost think of it as a practice, then you're actually building new pathways, neural pathways.
I had to rebuild a lot of
and I bet you did.
pathways.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, that you literally had to do that from your brain injury. Yeah.
Yes.
And here you are today. You seem healthy. You seem vibrant and youthful, and so you did it. So for those people out there that know
I worked
somebody,
very hard.
Yeah. If somebody is out there that's watching this at some point, this video could be 10 years from now.
Right.
Could you say anything to the people, or that people that know somebody that might need? Here's somebody right here in front of you that made it back.
Well, and everybody, I think, can make it back to. They may not make it back to this degree with such a massive brain injury as I had, but everybody can make it to a point where they are comfortable and they're safe and they're whole in themselves and whatever their physical abilities are. So, but the music and continuing to use that, it's reaching people. Their minds hear it. Their minds know it. They recall it. It draws you to places that you would never think you were able to get to. And it does it through the music. I mean, it's been tested. It's been studied. And the brain and how it responds to music. And even your body and your soul and how it calms your body and how it makes you breathe. And
I thought that there's so much new brain research now, too, that they used to think that the parts of the brain could not regenerate. Correct me if I'm wrong. But now they know that everything can regenerate. It's totally doable. And it doesn't stop. And you could be 80 years old, too.
Right.
You don't lose that. It's the neuroplasticity.
Yes. It continues to rebuild.
Yeah. So that's the good news. They didn't think that 20 years ago. No. When you had your thing happening.
When I had my situation, I was literally told that I would never amount to anything, and that I was that
what? They told you that?
I was told actually that the best I could hope for was to be in the wheelchair and to
Wow.
Be able to possibly answer a phone if I was lucky, and not really be able to interact with other people. And now I do.
Okay.
Now do.
So how did you?
Speaking.
Well, was there somebody key that came along who went against that, or did you figure it out yourself to get to this point?
There were people that were key. I had a lot of good therapists, and people that said, you can do it. And a lot of it was friends making me those tapes and bringing me music and saying, you're not dead.
Right.
You're not done.
Right.
We have a concert to go to. You better prepare. And that was right. I was like, I have a concert to go to. I'm not done.
Right. So this is a great example right before me to be able to meet you in person and hear your story of how the body and how human beings, we are always a work in progress.
Right.
Always. Right. So from an extreme level with your experience, but we could also just take this as a metaphor or as an example that, we're always in process. Deepak Chopra talks about, human being is not a machine, whether you believe this or not. We're not like a physical, if I touch you, like a rock.
Yeah.
We're actually, basically, we're in process. What I'm seeing with you right now, every second, in process. And
absolutely.
So you could take this experience that you've just heard, or this story from Susan R. Nelson right here, and apply that to your life right now, whatever is happening.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Music is it's just power. It's a magnificent force. That's an amazing thing. And you give such a gift to people by playing, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you to even consider.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. If you guys just tuned in, start the video from the top. And Susan was my interview today for our Strings Attached Cares Facebook Live Marathon. We're raising money for the work we do here in Austin, Texas, taking music to folks that need it, the folks that can't get to the Paramount Theater or the bars or the clubs, taking the vibrant musicians that know how to look in the eyes of their listeners and make a connection, a connection with the limbic system, so that rewiring can occur, and that we're never done. The nursing home that I visited last night, some people might see, why would you do that? Those people are at the end of their lives. No, it's important. It's important to the memory care patients. As a matter of fact, it's the power of music in that situation. It's like a magic thing that happens. Every time I'm blown away by
Absolutely.
it, and I love doing that work. So this is what we're trying to do. This is my dream with Strings Attached Cares. As a matter of fact, it just gets me excited. Yesterday I spent the whole day going around. We went to Adult Children's Hospital. We went to a couple schools, and then we ended up at the nursing home. And it makes life worth living as a musician to be able to do this kind of work. And it is
that makes me smile.
I hope it does, because like when Martin Luther King says, I have a dream. Well, it's like my dream is I don't have enough of these. I mean, we don't have enough money, but there is the need out there, and somebody could just write us a check for $1 million or become involved. If you can't write a check,
that's right.
Call me up, and we need people to make phone calls to set these performances up. We need places to go. We need to find the places that have the most need. And so my dream fulfilled would be looking at a week and or a month of performances like this. But it's not happening, folks. I've been asking for a year. I'm not going to go negative or anything, but it's we could do more of this. So come on, let's do it.
The need is great.
Yeah, you could be out there watching this. Somebody that could donate, or somebody that could come on board and help. But we want to pay the musicians to do this work. Christine Alpert has an organization called Swan Songs, and she always felt it was important to pay the musicians because musicians are already, let's say the professional musicians that have chosen this as their career and their livelihood. They're already putting their futures at risk because they don't have a 401k plan or whatever. So the other part of the dream is to be able to pay the musicians well. And I like to pay the musicians $100 to go out and do this performance. And we're paying folks, these are musicians, again, that are vibrant, that know how to look and connect with the recipients. of these performances. So I'm not just hiring anybody. You know, they're not players up there that are just playing. You know,
right.
They reach out and they touch the folks in many ways. So if you want to be part of this, I'm going on and on, but
and I know, a few musicians out there that are friends of mine. I'm going to reach out to you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I will.
You can be a part of this. Maybe you know somebody. It's a village. Thank you.
It does take a village.
Right?
Yes.
This is an example of it. So as long as you're alive and you can breathe, as John Kabat said, then there is potential to be a part of this, and it will change your life. And one of the things I've wanted to do is bring more of my patrons along to see these performances. And so if you're a patron and you're listening, you know, there are lots of opportunities to come along and see firsthand at the nursing homes. You know, we can bring a few people along. Maybe you can help set up the music, or you can do the filming or take photographs. So all that helps. Thank again, Susan.
Thank you, Will, for all you do. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Namaste. Just like here.
Namaste. Okay. Yes. Oh, and I wanted, if we're still on.
Yeah, we're still
I don't know. I wanted to show you my undershirt because you were talking about.
Oh no! Oh yeah, right.
No.
Meditate.
Heavily meditated.
Is that what it says?
Yes.
I love it.
Heavily meditated.
What is this? Is that the?
That's a kind of a universal symbol of meditation.
Is it really?
Heavily meditated.
Okay.
Yes. Meditation works.
Not medicated, but
not medicated.
Meditated.
Meditated.
Self-meditated.
Yes.
That should be another one.
Yeah.
I should make a shirt like that. Is
there
one?
You go. I don't know.
Maybe we can make a bunch of money off that shirt.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, I have to say something. If you guys are watching, some really exciting news is a lot of the artists I've worked with over the years. I've worked with a lot of big name artists from Pearl Jam. You know, and this means something to some people. Like if they come in and they don't know who I am, if I say, well, I've worked with Pearl Jam, I've worked with Grammy Award winners like Sean Colvin, Willie Nelson, Gary Clark Jr., then all of a sudden people go, oh, Will Taylor must be important. Yeah. Maybe I should listen to what he says. And a lot of people
are important.
All right. So, but if that's important to you and you just tuned in, you know, I've worked with what's the artist farthest back? I can go the Turtle Island String Quartet, Sarah Hickman. Now, what's really cool is with this organization, I thought, well, what if I approached some of these famous artists and said, hey, can I do a cut with you? And we could film it and put it up on all the digital outlets with all the profits to either benefit your chosen charity or Strings Attached Cares. And what's really exciting is that we have, on Spotify right now, we have a song of mine. It's a cover of a tune by One Republic called Apologize. I recorded it 10 years ago, and right now it's at 1.3 million plays. It's almost close to 1.3 million plays. Nice. And I actually make money from that. So what I thought was, let's get some of that wave and, you know, put some new tunes up there by people like Gary Clark Jr., Willie Nelson, Sarah Hickman, Sean Colvin. So the great news is Gary Clark Jr. just texted me a couple days ago, said we're good to go with his version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Was it Sleeps?
Weeps.
Weeps. While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Yeah. Weeps. So I've got Gary Clark totally on board. 100% of the profits from that cut will go to stringsattachedcares.org. And just to let you know, how much would that be? Well, that one song of mine that's at 1.3 million plays is earning about $7,000 a year. So if I could get a song like with Gary Clark Jr. that is doing that, that's $7,000 of profit to get folks to do this work. Now, Willie Nelson is also signed up. I did a cut with him. Does anybody know how to reach Willie Nelson? He recorded it, played his guitar, but we want to get him on the bus or somewhere to do a video, you know, to lip sync. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome.
We got Willie Nelson. So we got Willie confirmed. He's like, used the song, great. We've got Gary Clark Jr. Next up is Sean Colvin. And who else am I looking forward to? Oh, Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. We did a show with him on Austin City Limits. You can Google that. In 2009, they loved working with Strings Attached. So we're trying to get Eddie Vedder to maybe donate that song we did on Austin City Limits to benefit this or his chosen charity. So if you guys out there listening and you know how to get to them, great. Or if you remember any great Strings Attached concert we worked with, like Ian Moore. Ian, are you listening? I actually tagged you on this.
Yes.
So can you donate a song? All right, so that's some other great news. Is we got Willie Nelson, we got Gary Clark Jr. Yay. Yes. Thanks a lot, Susan.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Will. I appreciate it.
Yay. See you guys out there. I can go on forever. I'm just like, oh, look, we got 5 people still listening, too.
Yay.
Yeah, this is good. A lot of people watched.
Yay.
Yay, awesome. Okay, well.